Diane Schoen and Justin Paffrath, each of them to describe their view of the Sedona Fire District's current fiscal status and what it will take to ensure the future funding required to sustain and improve the organization. Would you please come up in turn and address that issue? Let's begin with Justin, since Dave just spoke.
Thanks. Okay, thanks again. Right now with decline in property valuations, we're showing a $3 million deficit for 2012 and 2013. Will the Sedona Fire District raise the mill rate, or will we stay in budget? I think we can stay in budget and maintain the same level of service. Future funding and sustainability with improvement will need creative fundraising and the recommendations in the Maglattery report. And also, I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be a use of reserves and volunteers like our sheriff departments and police departments and other fire departments do. In 2002, the budget was less than $8 million. There was no controversy or questioning about the level of service. And I don't see why it can't be the same now. And I don't understand why we need to be spending more than communities 4 times our size. And I will see too that there is accountability and honesty and integrity when it comes to budget decisions. And the board is there just for that, for budget. It's up to the fire chief to make sure that we do not compromise our emergency services. Thank you.
This is probably not enough time to really explain a budget. As you well know, many of you have served on boards. Budgets are sometimes quite complicated. One of the reasons the budget was so high in the past at the beginning that the opponents like to quote, and suddenly they were able to lower it, was in the first period of years, this was a volunteer fire department. It took the budget did increase greatly when it was very low in the beginning, when they took on professional help and became a professional fire department. In addition to that, there's an opportunity for all of you, as I have shared in the last few days or few weeks. There were 2 budget meetings. They were open meetings. There were no citizens there, but there is an opportunity always to go to budget workshops. After listening to the new Chief Chris Kazian, who gave an extensive report, I'm totally convinced, and I know you would be too, that the fire department will not be able to sustain and improve the organization and keep its services unless his recommendation of raising the mill levy is adopted. This was the recommendation of the current chief. Our current board kept the mill rate at $1.40 for 2 years. They used reserve funds to pay for such things as an unneeded audit. The $190,000 Maglattery audit was totally unneeded. It found out nothing new, and it says that anything that they would implement to save money would take at least 3 years or maybe even longer. And they spent exorbitant legal fees, which need to be controlled, and that was something that Chief Kazian put in the new budget as well. They say that they have saved taxes, but in reality, they've reduced services by eliminating staff. And they say that staff just went voluntarily. Staff went out of fear. They saw how the board functioned, how they threatened management and threatened labor, and that's why they left. Currently, and the Maglattery report, and I don't like to quote it as being valid, but this is very important, 60% of our employees right now are looking for other positions. That's a quote out of the report. We cannot afford to lose more firemen, and this is very important in terms of the budget. The chief recommended raising the mill rate. As I said, he recommended to raise it to 1.65. That's $1.65. This would only increase your tax bill at a very low rate. In fact, it would not change your tax bill at all because of the decrease in assessed valuation. If we don't, and we keep it at 1.4, the chief said that the following year, it would have to be raised to 2.19. This is a history of the mill rate not being raised effectively by a board at incremental levels.
As I said earlier in my comments, we have $4 million in the reserves. We have not touched this year, not touched the reserves other than last year's budget, how they were handled. We also put in contingency. I told you $1.5 million, almost $1.6 million. $200,000 have come out of the contingency for the what they classified an audit, which gives us nothing but the roadmap for the future. The McGladrey report was not brought in for evaluation of accounting. It was brought in for the evaluation what we could do at our district. If things are adopted in there, we could in the next 10 years save not less between $10 and $20 million just in our Sedona Fire Department usage only. Please read this. It's a very easy read. It's a very good report, 288 pages, and you can see the simple, applicable things that will make it sensible and usable, and that we can maintain our taxes. And we have, as they said, we have had 2 budget meetings on our taxes at the next budget year. Our new chief has laid out his wishes and wants with input from the staff, and we are right now making evaluations on that, and hopefully we can adopt that budget for next year shortly. There's some things we all have different concerns and interests in, and one of the things that my biggest concern and interest is maintaining the safety that we've always enjoyed here for many years and go from here. Thank you.
Mr. Bloward states that there's $4 million available and that they saved all this money. I want to share with you the list of who's left this district and why they've saved money. Because as you know, if you've ever owned a business and your highest paid employee leaves your business, you save a lot of money until you hire someone else. So these are the people that have left. An assistant chief, EMS, and operational support, a battalion chief of training, a deputy fire marshal, a fire inspector, 3 fire positions are open, firefighter positions, the business director has left, the human resource manager, an office assistant, a regional communications manager, and a telecommunications manager. Now, don't tell me, or I believe that you would agree with me, these positions affect our safety.
I want to start with the staff that has left. The telecommunication manager, Tad Conyer, left barely 3 months ago for a position in Prescott, Arizona. The regional communication center manager, Terry Schleiser, left and retired March 2011. And that position has been looked at and has not been recommended to be replaced because they feel like compared to anybody else, we have more than we need there. Chief Azimi resigned April 2011, and that was his decision. It was never requested. Human Resources Manager, I respect the other people. I hope you respect me. Human Resource Manager, Mandy Carfield was hired shortly after the new business manager, Karen Danes, arrived in 2008. When she resigned in 2011, she was told people she had left because of the stress level of SFD. Now look at 2011. Okay, I guess I can't get through all the people here. Okay, Marshall Will Loesch. He left here because 3 times he went to the board and asked for a difference in the retirement program, not our board, the retirement program, and he was turned down. I have more here if you wish. Glad to give you a copy of everything.
I do have an appointment to go to, so I do apologize. I will have to excuse myself. And it's all about money. And if cities greater than our size do not question the integrity of service, why should we? 15 million, and we're questioning this. In 2002, we spent less than $8 million, and there were no concerns. It's grown out of control. It's trying to be cut back, and we have this trouble that's going on. So it's a very important election, and I wish you all the best, and vote wisely. Have a great day.
To what are the needs for fire and EMS with the Sedona Fire District? It's whatever the challenges are, those are the needs. What are the challenges in the whole district? We identify the challenges, and then you spend the money accordingly to be able to manage those challenges. So personnel, equipment, training, those are priorities. You got to have the people to do the job. You have to have the equipment so the personnel can do the job. And you got to have the training to make sure they maintain their professionalism and are proficient at what they do. The last thing you want is our firefighters to get complacent at what they do because of lack of training. That's critical. In the fire service and any public safety organization, when you start to get sloppy from complacency, people die, whether it's a citizen, the firefighters, the first responders, whoever it may be. So it's important that that training level has to be maintained. Equipment, there's got to be a replacement plan. That just doesn't stop after you buy your first fire engine and then forget about it. You have to continuously keep things replaced. That has to be done very carefully. You don't want to take a hard hit one year and then not spend anything the next year. So every year you got to budget a little bit each year to be able to function and manage that. Mentioned training. All these are all necessities that need to be maintained and balanced with an adopted budget. To secure a level of professionalism, it starts with the fire chief. He's the leader. He needs to identify these challenges, explain to the board what the needs are, not the wants, but the needs, what you have to function, and you don't want to go over that. That's a tough balance in public safety. So you don't want to compromise safety for the firefighters or the citizens that they serve. You want to make sure they have the right equipment, the right training. That's a tough balance, but it's manageable. That's what fire chiefs do. But they have to be allowed to do that. That's what a good board does. They allow their fire chief to manage their fire district after they adopt a budget. Those are the roles and responsibilities. Once the budget is adopted, the fire chief manages and spends the money based on the board's direction, and that's where it stops. The problem is these 3 current board members that are being recalled choose not to do that, choose to micromanage, choose to do all the things that they're not supposed to be doing as board members, clearly because they don't understand. And I don't hold that against them. It's just not their line of work. They need to step down, let people come in there that are professionals that understand the fire district and how it operates. You have choices. You can go to the fire station. Anyone in this room can go to the fire station, sit down with the fire chief, and say, Chief, I need to understand your operations. Why are we spending this kind of money? Why are we buying this kind of equipment? And he will, I guarantee you, the new chief will sit down with you and do that because he's got good qualities. So you need to take the time to do that so you clearly understand the operations before you make any decisions. Thank you.
First of all, I'm going to make a statement. I was married for many years. I don't micromanage anything. I believe that is true. The chief is the person that reports to the board and brings his needs forward and tells us what he wants and needs. And then it's up to the board to evaluate and grant and fund these needs. So that's where I'm going to leave that. The current chief, who I interviewed when he came on board, one of the first things he said is, and as far as administration went, I do what you do with 2 people. You are incredibly overstaffed. That's one of the reasons why we have not fulfilled a lot of the positions that have been vacated, and I also felt that too. When we were in a period of high earnings, we've hired people that were unnecessary, and we had them as luxuries. And when we're in a period of lean operation, we cut to the quick and we go to what we need. We can certainly operate and function very well with what we have. Sedona hasn't grown that much. We have basically the same number of EMS calls. And if you look at it, we get less than 3/4 of a structural fire a month. So if you want to say it, we're basically an ambulance company. We have some nice fire trucks around to answer fire emergencies, but we're basically an ambulance company, and that's where our training comes in. Part of the operation for an organization like this is strict training, and we have documents, guidelines, books that we all follow to the T. We have regulations that we have to comply with, or we'd be in trouble with the state and many other organizations. So we're doing what we have to do as a board. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not a micromanager. I don't do that. And as far as my other 2 board members, I challenge that. I don't think they've done that either. Thank you.
Quick response to Charlie's statements. You have to be careful when you're comparing cities to fire districts. Fire districts are self-sufficient. They have all their own internal support. Fire departments do not. So to say that, we're like Flagstaff, we're like this city or that city, it's not comparing apples and apples, and you have to do that in public safety. You got to be careful when you start throwing those numbers out and try to make the comparison between the two, because it's totally different. When it comes down to the responses and what the firefighters do and what their challenges are, it's way beyond just EMS. It's technical rescue. It's getting people off these rocks every day. They're bringing in helicopters. They do short hauls. They do wildland fires. We're getting into a wildland season right now, and it's coming earlier than anticipated because of the dryness that we had in the past winter. Those are our challenges. We have homes between all these beautiful trees and between these mountains that are high threat. They're beautiful locations, and people love living there, but for fire conditions, they're high threat. That's why you have a fire department, a fire district here, to protect you.